Should we just hit the ground running?
Let's just hit the ground running. Please put your hands together for Julian Stern.
Hello friends, I want to tell you a story. Give it up if you've never heard of the poop train. Okay, so some of you have no idea what I'm talking about, which is very exciting for me. Earlier this year, this is all an incredibly true story. There was a train from New York that New York used to send its poop to a dump in Alabama, because New York City is not allowed to dump in the ocean. They have to find other dumps throughout the country. And so this dump in Alabama was taking their poop, and there was a train that was on its way to the dump, and the town outside the dump said, you know what, we're passing an injunction, we don't want the poop here. And so that train had to stop, and this is all true. 56 cars, 10 million pounds of poop were stopped for 2 months outside of a tiny town that was next to that town that passed the injunction called Parrish, Alabama. It was less than 2 square miles. It has less than 1,000 people in it. And this poop train was there for 2 months. The mayor had to call the Washington Post and say, it smells like rotting feces here, because it did. And anyway, it was one of my favorite stories. I was watching it the entire time that it was happening. But I am also somewhat of a musician at times, a lyricist, and I went to college in Atlanta, has a deep history of country music, and there is a trope in country music where a boy and a girl meet just outside of town at a landmark. And I thought, you know, what if I wrote a song just as like a creative challenge for myself, where I just tweaked one tiny thing and just and had them meet, instead of like out at the holler, how to meet out at the poop train. And so I thought, if I just tweak one little thing, I wonder how much it'll change the song. I don't think it changes it too much. I think it stays pretty grounded. But I just want to perform it for you right now. Yeehaw! All right. Song about love. I was 17, she was more or less. She was dirt jeans, I was Sunday best. Can't imagine that I met her down by the poop trains. Long old legs and a dimple grin. I don't even know what month I was in. What's a little thing like her doing down by the poop trains? I said, you ain't from this town, I think I know them hips. And then she turned right around and opened up her lips. I'm the poop train girl, I sprang up from the goofy. A fully formed and fully horny and fully spooky turd with the soul of a demon in the shape of a lady. My best friends are a bird and a baby with rabies. And then for thousands of years nobody's talked to me. You're the first one, do you want to play some Monopoly? It's my fave game and I've got most of the pieces. And if you want candy, I've got most of the Reese's. So she's a bit of a bunch, but now I'm thinking and developing a bit of a hunch that I could make the greatest, finest choice of my life, to turn the poop train girl into my poop train wife. Sure, she got a couple screws loose, and her house is a caravan full of deuce-deuce. But I believe that every man should fight for love, so I got down on one knee and I looked above. I stared in her eyes, they were brown and dead. I found my courage, here's what I said. I know we just met and you're a little scary, but poop train girl, baby, will you marry me? Yes, 1,000 times yes. In one of my poop trains I've already got a dress. It's made from the feathers of my bird best friend. Did I mention she met an untimely end? See, she and the baby tried to eat my Reese's. I chased and they fell in my crates of feces. I could only save one, it was quite the quandary for the honeymoon. Would you like to play Monopoly? Then I showed up, I'm the voice of the baby. They asked me to officiate and I said maybe. Officially, I really kind of didn't want to do it, because I love my life with Brenda and I didn't want to screw it. Brenda is the poop girl's name. She proposed without knowing it. Isn't that insane? Then again, being insane is all I'm going for, because secretly the bird didn't fall, I pushed her. And baby showed up and he married us. Ain't life just a little bit hilarious? One day you're the son of the governor, stumble on a poop demon, accidentally summon her, throw away your scholarship debating it, yeah, so you can raise a rabbit baby trying to send you to hell, and grow old with a woman made of bowels, drink a lot of Listerine and eat a bunch of owls. Never see your family relinquish all your property. God knows you'll play a lot of Monopoly. That's the story of my discharge devotion. Extra elopement. It's really just the notion that a small town boy met a poop train girl, got married, had babies in a poop train world. By poop train world, I mean really just a poop train. And by babies, I mean really just the one with rabies. So I think it's been pretty grounded. Thank you so much. Keep it going. Brave woman.
You know, speaking of poop trains, we are sponsored by Port this month.
Yes.